She'll give us 1, 2, 3. Good.
I'd like to call the meeting to order. Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone. GC Pride Awards.
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Superintendent Daly for an invitation. Tonight, I want to recognize 2 employees that have assisted me in the ins and the outs of the daily operation of school during the construction process. Head custodian, Rick Butler, who's back in the back of the room, and custodian Kelly Raydellis, who actually had an emergency and was unable to be here last year. I've been through capital projects before, and they're not easy. Rick and Kelly helped make it go much more smoothly than I had anticipated. Early on in the project, Rick and I learned that we needed to be on the same page. We planned regular meetings to try to keep ourselves up to date with what was happening. Between the 2 of us, we pool our information, and we were able to make it work for us. Later on in the project, Kelly came on board and joined those meetings also. We each had our talents. I think big picture. Kelly's the organizer and the planner, and Rick carries out the plan and makes it happen. So between the 3 of us, we made it through the last couple of years. We fell into a groove. We united around what was important, and we trusted each other to make decisions that were towards the end goal. And there were many things to work through as we went through this. At the beginning of the project, we had to move over 60 staff. May not seem like it, but it was a domino effect as you moved people. We had to move 60 staff into temporary spaces and then had to do the same thing at the end of the project. So we worked off this spreadsheet that articulated everything. You should have seen their faces when I told them it's probably a good idea that while we're in this project, we renumber the building. So with that, we did, and Kelly created a map that translated the old numbers to the new numbers, and the 2 of them have walked through every inch of this building. Kelly, out of the 3 of us, I'm sure Kelly knows the room numbers the best. And I know that they both take pride in this building, and they show it in many different ways. I could go into detail about each of their pet peeves, but I'll definitely spare you. But I will tell you, be careful that you don't stuff up the floor tonight. I learned that you truly get to know a person when you can work through not only the good times, but when the going gets tough. And we did just that. And I'm going to end with a little story that made us laugh the other day. Last week, I was in one of the new science rooms, and I was intrigued. As a former science teacher, I was intrigued by the stainless steel levers that were in there. So I pulled one because it looked like a book repository. I did that. Oh, it's the eye wash. Okay, that's great. Then I saw this lever. I didn't know what it was. Stainless steel and shiny. I work in a middle school, so I pulled the lever. And at that time, I immediately got doused in water. I was right underneath it. So I panicked. Not about me, but the floor. I looked down and at least there was a drain. And I'm like, oh, good. But I panicked and I quickly called called for Rick and Kelly because I didn't know what was going to happen to the floor. And so they didn't know where I was calling from, but they heard the panic in my voice and went running towards my office. I wasn't there. When we finally met up, we couldn't stop laughing, and we all agreed that we do need appropriate signage in that area once school starts. But while this is all very funny and amusing, and I can laugh at myself, it was the nature in which they immediately heard the panic in my voice and ran towards me. And that's trust. That's believing. And that's creating a relationship that you can work in and really do anything together. We've come a long way. And for that, I am honored to recognize Rick Butler and Kelly White-Ellis for the Spartan Pride Award. Come on up, Rick. And I have a special treat for you. Many of you probably also. I left it back there, but Mr. Tavaleris is going to bring it up. Both of them. Yes. The flowers are for Kelly, because I know that she will love them and appreciate them. And Rick, I heard so much about your keto diet. I thought you'd really love this box of protein bars. So here you go. All for you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Agenda changes.
Yes, sir. There have been changes made to personnel actions with an addition of 2 independent nursing contractors' contracts.
Okay, thank you very much, Superintendent Daly. Moving on to board president comments. I just wanted to say welcome this evening. As you can see from the tour this evening, 3 years in the wait. This is fantastic. This building hasn't been touched pretty much in over 30 years. And I did notice on the tour, I did recognize your initials on the orange tested tag on the shower. So job well done. I might recommend 2 pictures. Don't pull this unless you want this to happen. That might work. And end of board president comments. Moving on to points of interest.
I sent an email out to everybody this evening, the survey for topic ideas for upcoming Monroe County School Board Association Information Exchange and labor relations topic. So they're due by September 18th. If anyone has any rankings, you want to send them back to them.
Thank you very much. Any other? Katie?
We went to the technology pickup for middle schoolers, get laptops, and we just had a really great experience when we got there. Everything was welcoming. Everyone who was there was welcoming. People were in all their spots. They knew all the answers to every question. It was really a calm experience for parents and kids right before our school year. So it was awesome.
Thank you very much. Anybody else? Okay, thank you very much. Moving on. Report of meetings. Any county meetings happen between now and the last meeting? Okay. Thank you very much. We have no visitor comments this evening. Moving on to capital improvement report.
Where are we with the middle school?
Well, we're about to turn it over. Do we want to talk about middle school? Everybody walk through it, we're all good, save time. Anybody have any questions of what you saw? Nothing? 1.5, the high school, as you can see, masonry walls are growing larger and larger and higher every day. They'll continue to lay block for a couple more months. Mechanical and electrical trades are working with the masons for all the penetrations in the walls. Structural steel contractors should be coming here around the 20th, 25th. Around the 20th or 25th to start setting steel. New light pole bases are going in around the parking lot across the way there from the auditorium, and the underground chiller piping is actually installed through the new chiller building for the air conditioning. We've put new pumps in, done some work on Georgia's boilers. They're all back up and running. The system is ready to go whenever heating season is needed. Couple pictures. Looking around from the auditorium, the lower picture there is the rebar. That's actually they poured your stage floor the other day. That's all done. And if you go over there now, they're starting to where the precision beam is. They're setting up scaffold stuff for shoring on that before that beam, hopefully in about a week and a half. We will have a temporary wall up and roof. So remember when we walked over there last time, there's that intersection where they couldn't get to the one science room and the girls' bathroom. We'll have that all ready to go for school. Not a problem. Do you have any questions over there for that?
Nope.
1.6, Neil Armstrong and Walt Disney. We're completed. Playgrounds are completed both. So when school starts, they've been inspected. Kids can go outside and use the playgrounds. Structural steel at Walt Disney, if you drove by there, that exterior shell and skin is up for your addition. And the alternate work that we advanced, we got the OTPT rooms in both schools. They're about 95% complete, and they've been turned over to the district for less than punch list items, doing a few things to school, but on that freed up some space and then buildings for your teachers to use. Projected work in September. Actually, let me back up. The water line is taken care of. That's a big, huge thing right there at Neil Armstrong. That's done and over with. Site work at both buildings will continue. Foundations at Neil Armstrong should finish up in about 2 weeks now that we've taken care of the water line. And they're just going to be metal framing. Both of them probably will have a shell. They'll all be enclosed, I would assume, by the end of October. And they'll be working on roughing in electric and plumbing and building classrooms. And then if you go to the pictures, you can see the framing at Armstrong and the corner floor of Walt Disney. And then the last two pictures are like the new storage rooms, coach's office, and OPT stores and stuff like that. And then back to the building we took care of. Anybody have any questions on any of that?
I guess as a whole, is there anything that's keeping you up at night with any of the rest of the work that needs to be done?
No, not at your elementary schools, and obviously not here. The high school auditorium, we need to get a roof on by the rest of the year. Masons are actually working overtime, they're working Saturdays. We gotta either get a little late start at the beginning because of the weather, and then COVID did hit. There was 3 weeks where everybody like pulled back. I wish I had them 3 weeks back. Yeah. But we'll get a roof on by the time winter comes, and we'll work inside.
You said they're gonna continue building up for a couple more months?
The block? Yeah, the masonry guys, will keep laying block for about 2 more months. That same wall you see on this side, that same light together, then we'll set up on the north side of the building now and start constructing that in about a week. We stage that so the crane can go up to this side here, and they'll start setting steel behind them. So we can't some steel over anybody working and go to the school building. So that's why we have to take them to the block.
Thank you.
So what bad happens if the roof isn't on in January?
The roof will be on.
That's what I like.
Okay,
Absolutely.
okay, that's all I have. Anybody else have any questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Moving on to discussion items. 3A, Policy 5260, Fees for Home Interscholastic Athletic Events.
Again, recommending that the board adopt zero cost for indoor or outdoor events unless it's a Section 5 sectional game. And this year there are no sectionals, so that'll be very easy to handle.
Okay, anybody have any comments or any questions about that? I can't see, Frank, you have anything? I can't.
No.
Okay.
Just so everybody knows, we should have done this at the organization meeting. Got overlooked a little bit, so.
Yes.
Because of the way things are, no big impact.
Yes, thank you very much, Frank. I just wanted to reiterate, this was a procedural item that this should have been pulled out of consensus and voted on separately. That's why we're coming back around to correct that procedural issue. So if there's no other objections, I think we're going to close discussion on that particular item. And we are, so do we have to vote on it or is it just a discussion?
Further down.
I'm sorry?
It's further on the agenda.
Further down?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much. Moving on to finance and facility update. Dr. Ball?
So.
Not a problem.
Okay, so, in the beginning, we called the meeting to order at 5 o'clock. From a facilities perspective, we had Joe Cresort from SWBR, which is a construction firm, talk about a proposal that would review our spaces to determine adequacy moving into the future based on our needs. And so the committee agreed to explore this assessment in the future. Joe is completing his doctoral program and is able to offer us this service at a highly discounted rate. And so we're continuing to push in that area and negotiate a contract with Joe and his firm. We also did a paver update. We updated the committee that the progress of installing the engraved pavers was completed. Those were the pavers that were sold by the Gates Skylight Education Foundation. And so currently we've installed a little over 40 and have approximately 60 left to sell and install in the future. And so we've been working with the Gates Skylight Education Foundation on that. We talked about pest management and pesticide use. The district contracted with an outside firm to do pest management on the grounds while they're closed due to COVID-19. So the grounds were closed from August 22nd to August 24th for that pest treatment, although the track and turf field remained open. So that was good news that we were able to do that. Florence Brasser abatement update. The Florence Brasser abatement project hadn't commenced due to some processing issues. And so the project did start this week and should be done by the start of school, which is a win for the district given our time. From a finance perspective, I gave a tax rate update and shared tax rate calculations with the committee. Brief reflection on that is that from a budgetary perspective, we shared with the community based on initial assessments, which aren't finalized, that the rate would be approximately $25 per thousand. Gates Skyline did a reassessment, so they were at 100% valuation. The state down adjusted the Chi-Li equalization rate at 96%. So unlike past years, there will be two different rates for Chi-Li and Gates. The rate for, after the final numbers came in, the combined rate was a little under 25 at 24.82, which means that we did a good job of estimating our rates months ago before we had final assessments. And the actual rate for Chi-Li will be 25.55, right around there. Although it goes up many decimal places, and the rate for, gates will be 24.55. So, the try line number will be a little higher than our estimate, and the gates number, will be a little lower, but the combined rate is still under the 25. So that was, good news. Shared that we'll be updating our software, to streamline our process of accounting, for our payroll process. So this is, I'm talking about a time and attendance system through WinCap, because our software system is WinCap. And so now we, talk about updating our time management system, where employees punch in, so that it's a streamlined process and reduces redundancy. Fund balance, and reserve use. Just reviewed some estimates of fund balance. We're currently, closing out our financials. We're still working on that. But once those are closed out, the audit, just finished up this past week, the field work. And so right now, we're doing all the final entries to close out the year. And once those are complete, we'll have final, numbers for reserve allocations, that we'll talk about in the more broader context. Audit, just gave a brief update on the bonded view internal audit, and talked about that the progress was ongoing and will be completed in the next couple of weeks. We now have a draft report, and so I've been reviewing that and making final notes before we have a final report that will be shared on September 28th with the Finance Facility and Audit Committee, as well as an external audit report from P0. That is what I just mentioned, that they finished the field work, and we're going to have a report for the committee on the 28th, and then likely board approval on the same night of that audit. And then from there, we'll be able to do our state aid reporting. And so that meeting ended at around 7:50.
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions? Okay, thank you very much. Just wanted to point out that the assessment that we talked about at the beginning is the precursor to the building conditions survey, and it's going to inform a long-range strategy for our buildings beyond into like a 5 to 15 year window. Is that what we're shooting for from a long-range strategy?
Yes, absolutely. At a minimum, we're looking for 50.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Moving on, NISBA resolution discussion. Frank?
Received the resolution booklet. I'm not sure who else got it, but I did. I just basically took things out of it, summarized it in a little spreadsheet type thing, so you can see what the basic things were. I'm assuming we'll have some type of area 2 discussion, which are the school districts in our part of the state, but nobody talked about that. We'll probably talk to rural county school boards about something like that. You get a chance to look at them. The ones that are at the beginning, where the resolution committee recommended them, and I had some concerns initially, but what I'm seeking from the board is if you get a chance to get some feedback on it, just let me know which way you want to go. I can just share that there are 2 issues for me. One is access for special education parents and guardians. I think that's a problem. I understand the concern from districts about costs and everything, but in many situations, the parents of these children quite often can't afford to hire high-priced lawyers and do anything like that. So any roadblock sometimes hurts them. And the second issue has to do with unfunded mandates. I have a particular bug about the association asking for an unfunded mandate. And they do it all the time. Now, again, not that unfunded mandates are all bad, it's just that they're unfunded. You know, and so I don't think we should go about asking for more of them. So you'll see that in the little discussion. The only one I had a question on was whether or not we really want to be involved as an absolute in MEDA grants, industrial development grants. I don't know, Chris, if you have input on that one. Right now, the county can invite the school district as well as the town into discussing a grant. The it's not required. The last one that had the biggest play was in Irondequoit, over, I Square, I think it was. As well as the Medley Center, the old Medley Center, Irondequoit Mall, but they were invited in, because of the cost of it. But we haven't, I don't think this district ever been invited into one around, Gates in any way, shape, or form. But this resolution requires the industrial development agencies to invite the school districts in. So, and again, that might be something that administration may want to review. And input from any administrators as well. Okay. The annual meeting is somehow going to be virtual on October 31st. And this should be interesting to get approximately 400 people on some kind of media center and allow them to yell and scream at each other. So it's part of the joy of going in person, quite honestly. People going back and forth and dancing over the resolution. So it could be interesting to see how they're going to handle the voting and the discussion. But that's still a couple months away. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Frank. Is there a particular date that you need the feedback due by?
No, really, it's, until I know when the area 2 meeting is, I can't even give you a tentative one, to tell you the truth. So anytime up to August, it's October 31st, I guess, but sooner the better.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other questions or comments? Okay, moving on. Motion to approve consensus items B through K. Motion, please. Mike, Bailey, and Katie. Questions or comments on the consensus items? All in favor? The vote is unanimous. Thank you very much. And Michaela.
We have 2 retirees to acknowledge tonight. Alita Ferrera here at Neil Armstrong is retiring after 19 years of service with the district, so we wish him well. Congratulations to him. And English teacher from the high school, Suzanne Blackburn, is retiring after 21 years of service to the district. So also wishing her well and congratulations on her retirement.
I'd like to thank them for their service and wish them well in their retirement. Thank you very much, Michaela. Moving on to superintendent comments.
Well, a huge thank you to Mrs. Petrosino, Mr. Olin, and Dr. Buckshaw and her team for the ribbon cutting ceremony tonight. It's great to have the students lead us and tour the new facilities here. It's impressive, to say the least. Some updates for the board on things going on as we get ready to open for our students on September 14th. At the middle school and high school, student schedules will be made available to next Wednesday, September 9th, to families. Teachers at the middle school and high school had their schedules made available last week as they get ready for their different classes they'll be teaching. The middle school and high school will have a joint parent forum online Wednesday, September 9th from 4 to 5 p.m. And again, all this is going on with balancing still taking place, working with our nutrition program to accommodate both in and out of school food service. As we are waiting to hear more news about athletics and guidance on that this week as well to prepare for that, that would start somewhere around the 21st of September. And again, last night, as Mrs. Coffey shared, we had our computer deployment and it went well. We got a second night scheduled tomorrow, as well as new student orientations going on over the next 2 weeks. Our elementary teachers learned of their assignments on Monday, and they have a forum tomorrow where all 4 buildings will be online at 9 to address families about the most common questions and give them updates on getting ready for their students' attendance. And again, they're currently working through the ever-changing students who are registering. We are getting a ton of people still coming into the district as we balance classes between in-person hybrid or full at-home remote learning. So that has led to a lot of interesting staffing changes. A huge credit to Michaela and her team, as well as the principals, in figuring out how to solve this very, very complex puzzle. And we're hopeful that parents will have their notifications for their classes for elementary, whether you're in remote or hybrid, by the end of this week or early next week. And teachers will be following up with introductions. And again, to put in perspective for our board, based on requests from the families that have come in and those that have registered since, we're at 22 sections of remote only. So you basically have an elementary school of remote learning this year for the district. So putting that together with the staffing needs as far as requests based on health, et cetera, for our staff, the complicated puzzle that has been solved for now. We'll see what happens at the end of the week. But our human resources did, along with our administrative team and principals, is just phenomenal. We found a way to make it work, and it's not easy to say the least. So when you think about it in perspective, we have an elementary school full of remote learners that we're going to be teaching this year, which is pretty interesting. At the same time as we're doing this, the state issues more guidance or changes or whatever you'd like to call it. We got a very extensive memo that we're allowed to open doors this year. So in order to increase ventilation, we had to get a memo that was highly written and really well written that we can use door stops, and they're no longer a fire hazard for this school year to allow for more airflow. We were also told that they are banning bandanas, gaiters, which are the neck coverings that go over your face, or any mask with valves. We found that out from the State Health Department, Monroe County Health Department this week. So 2 weeks ago, we adopted bandanas. Now we can't. So we'll be changing that at a later date. And on top of that, we were informed today we should get more updates and guidance from the Department of Health later this week. So we will be adjusting as that goes and trying to inform our families and our staff and our kids as quickly as we get to understand it as well. Hot topic right now is athletics. We're looking forward, we're getting official guidance on athletics either Thursday afternoon or Friday morning with the goal of hopefully starting practices on the 21st, but we're still waiting to see what that guidance is. Because remember, when we were first talking about coming back in the fall, the guidance that we were anticipating was going to allow us to come back with all students. Then we got the guidance and it showed that we couldn't do that. So we're very hopeful that this guidance will allow us to have athletics safely. It'd be awesome to offer that to our kids to give them some form of normalcy towards the end of September. But we're waiting for the guidance from the state in order to see what we have to do in order to do that. But my goal, and I know Dr. Irving's goal, and Principal Buckshaw and Hamill, is to give our kids an opportunity if we're able to. So we should know more about that at the end of the week. A light at the end of the tunnel that we did get is the USDA has announced that they're putting forth guidance, shockingly guidance, to extend free meals for those that offered it during the summer through December 31st. We're waiting on what New York State will do about that, but we're anticipating that this may help our families even more. And as we get more information on that, I mean, it's very encouraging to see it because a week ago, basically they said there's no money to do it. But now they're saying they have enough money to run it through December 31st. So hopefully we'll qualify for that and be able to offer that for our families. Huge thank you to all the facilities, transportation, food service, SRPs, administrators, and teacher leaders that have been working tirelessly to adjust, pivot, and then complete requirements for opening for our students on September 14th. We are all looking forward to welcoming our staff next week as we prepare to make 2020-2021 outstanding for our staff, students, and families. We're excited and looking forward to working with our students and families again, whether in remote or in person. This is the new normal for now, and we're confident that our students' experiences will be positive, safe, and support student achievement. And last but not least, a question that was asked is, when do we get the video tour of the new facility here? So kudos again to SEI and Watchdog for making that happen. So that is my report, sir.
Thank you very much, Superintendent Daly.
Just have a quick question.
Yes.
is there any accommodations at the high school for the program in terms of certain courses not being able to be taught because of remote? Or, you know,
There are some that didn't run, yeah. But nothing of the significance of APs and things like that.
Okay, thank you very much. Moving on, motion to adjourn. Carrie and Dr. Richards, all in favor? The vote is unanimous. We are adjourned.